Welcome. My name is Kristina Holton, and this is a presentation of my educational philosophy of teaching and learning. My philosophy comes from my background in instruction together with my continual pursuits of further knowledge and education. I believe that instructors should create and facilitate opportunities for learners to create meaning and find application in their learning as it relates to their current and future self. Learning is a lifelong process, and the learner should be able to take control of their own learning. This is the concept of self-directed learning. The learner should eventually be able to determine which strategies work best for them and can lead them to success. The learner should also be able to assess the effectiveness of their own learning and make adjustments as necessary. Andragogy describes the differences between how adults and children learn. Within andragogy, Malcolm Knowles described 6 assumptions about the learner that instructors need to know about and understand. These assumptions help to describe the learner and what makes each individual learner unique. By understanding these, the instructor can better facilitate a learning environment that moves the learner towards being more self-directed. Knowles' 6 assumptions are that learners come into the learning environment with various levels of the following: self-concept, experience, readiness to learn, understanding of the application of learning, motivation, and understanding of the reason for learning. Let's take a look at each of what these involve. Self-concept is how the learner perceives his or her own strengths, weaknesses, abilities, attitudes, and values. The facilitator should provide opportunities to increase self-concept by creating a welcoming and inclusive environment, offering constructive feedback to the learner, and demonstrating the value of the learning opportunity for the future. Each learner has a set of experiences that are unique to them. This experience is the foundation of the learner. Experiences can assist or hinder the learner to continue in learning opportunities. The instructor should work to foster and create more positive experiences for the learner. This can be done by connecting learners with others who have similar experiences as their own. It can also be providing opportunities to learn from the differing experiences that each individual brings. The individual's readiness to learn is often determined by the social role that the learner has, and it is not always the role of student. Knowing this, the instructor can facilitate opportunities that will advance the learner both in his or her current role, but also in roles that they may assume in the future. This process requires the instructor to have a solid understanding of the continuum of the knowledge that they are facilitating. Learners are most likely to be engaged in learning that has immediate application to a problem that they are facing. Instructors need to understand this and root the learning in real-world application as much as possible. One way of doing so is by making the learning opportunity relevant to the everyday lives of the learner. Motivation for the learner can be both internal and external. Internal motivation often entices the learner to proceed more than external motivation does. Self-directed learning allows the learner to have ownership of the learning and can often result in increased motivation. If learners understand why they are learning, it creates more meaning and has a greater value for the learning opportunity. Knowledge is foundational. It builds. So instructors should facilitate opportunities for the learner to see both immediate application in the learning, but also how the learning continues to grow. Each of these assumptions are interconnected. They do not have equal weight or importance for each learner. As the learner increases in one area, they may subsequently increase or decrease in another. For example, a better understanding of the application of the learning may increase the learner's motivation to learn. Similarly, if the learner has more experience in a particular area, they may have a different level of readiness to learn. I created this visual to help conceptualize this philosophy. As you can see, the learner is comprised of each of Knoll's 6 assumptions. However, the size of each part of the learner assumption varies. Also, the connection or relation between each part is represented by a non-straight line, signifying that it varies and changes based on the learner and then the learning opportunity. All of these components together help to determine where the learner fits on the continuum of self-directed learning. I created a self-assessment tool based on Malcolm Knoll's 1976 paper entitled Separating the Amateurs from the Pros in Training. He describes how a pro approaches instruction and learning based on the foundations of andragogy and self-directed learning, compared to an amateur who approaches instruction and learning from a more instructor-centered view. I created a series of questions where the instructor can pick which phrase most accurately describes them. The resulting responses will show whether the instructor favors a self-directed or instructor-directed approach to teaching and learning. In conclusion, I believe that individual learners come to us already loaded with a particular knowledge base on the assumptions of self-concept, experience, readiness to learn, understanding of the application of learning, motivation, and reason for learning, which makes them unique. Instructors need to do their best to navigate the complexities of the learner and assist him or her with becoming a self-directed learner. I appreciate you taking the time to view my presentation. If you have any questions or comments, I hope you will find an opportunity to share them with me. Thanks again.